their expression. Good afternoon to all our listeners and viewers of the NDC Heartbeat podcast. We're happy to have all of you on this afternoon, those who are on radio via WeFM, Vibes FM, Spice Capital Radio, Talk Grenada, and indeed those who are on the NDC Facebook platform, and of course those who are on YouTube. We welcome you to another Heartbeat episode. This afternoon, what we'd like to do is to share with you pre-recorded interviews which we held during the week. We took the cameras and microphones of Heartbeat out to the yachting community, from St. Patrick to St. George, to get their expressions as to their thoughts with respect to the most unfortunate incident which has occurred in our country, resulting from the escape of three prisoners, Kathy Brandel and Ralph Hendry. Regrettably, and most unfortunately, in this isolated situation, it is alleged that they may had lost their lives as a result of this most tragic incident. The yachting community of Grenada reached out, we reached out to them, and they expressed themselves and indicated how safe Grenada is, and that this is a most tragic, isolated incident. Here now are their thoughts. We start off first of all with Aggie and Carlton, who live all the way out in the north of the island, St. Patrick. Welcome to the Heartbeat, Aggie and Carlton. Thank you very much for coming on. And we just want you just to share your experiences. What are your thoughts? And how do you feel about the entire incident and Grenada in particular? So, welcome.
Thank you for having us. Yeah.
Thank you.
Pleasure.
We've been away from the United States for 10 years, and when we were in the sailing community, everybody in the community is always on alert, and it's terrible what's happened to these people, and it was something that, from our experience, it's not something you could prepare to stop. They they just happened to be in the wrong place at the wrong time, and that's probably making light of it, but it's just, to us, that's what happened. And I don't know.
Well, let me add in, we left the United States 10 years ago on a sailboat, and it took us 3 years to get down to Grenada, and we visited all the Caribbean islands, or most all the Caribbean islands on our way, and we learned the Caribbean way as we came, and we loved the people at every island. We visited, the villages, and we didn't do the touristy stuff, and each island we came down until we got to Grenada, and then we went, wow. Anyway, that was in 2017, and we stayed in Carriacou for a while. Then we came to Mount Hartman Bay, where we lived on our sailboat for 3 years and loved every minute of it. We volunteered for reading groups and swimming and a dentist, and we participated in Grenada Race Week for several years, not as a participant, as a racer, but as an official on one of the boats. And so we've been with the racing community and with the sailing community for a long time. And my biggest thing is that I'm just devastated that it happened, because we feel so safe here in Grenada, and we love the people, and that's why we stayed. That's why we, told our family we're not coming back. We're going to live in Grenada. And so I feel, sometimes I'm speechless. You're going to have to say something because my heart hurts.
You've never been speechless before.
Oh, okay. Thank you. Well, it's true.
No, it's one thing that I've noticed since this happened is how it's affected the local people up here. I mean, they're not any way connected to the Salem community or to down south, really. And the local people are just really hurt by what happened. They just say, how could somebody have to face such a tragedy? And that's just the way Grenadians are. That's why we love it here, really. It's just a big happy family, to be honest with you.
Yes, thank you very much indeed. Yes, the Grenadian people feel very devastated over this incident, and even the families themselves of those whom are alleged to have committed this heinous crime, they also feel devastated. So there's just an entire community of hurting people. The local yachting community, they can't believe something like this has happened, because this has been their peaceful haven over so many years. And for this to occur, it's like an isolated situation, but it did occur. And therefore it, has sent shockwaves throughout all our villages, all our communities. And we feel very sad over it. And I want to just take this opportunity to extend on behalf of all of us here in Grenada condolences to the families of Kathy Brandel and Ralph Hendry, and our condolences to the Grenadian families whose sons are allegedly charged with this heinous crime, because they too are also hurting, and just the entire Grenadian community. We are all hurting over this unfortunate, isolated incident, which has caused local, regional, and international hurt. And we just wanted to let everyone know how we feel over the situation. And Grenada still remains the most safest island in the entire Caribbean, or could be possibly the world. And for something like this to happen on our soil with our sons, it's really, really regrettable. And we send our deep, heartfelt condolence to all the families who are hurting at this point in time. And we ask the local yachting community to, they too are hurting, and they share their sympathy with this great loss. To the friends of Kathy Brandel and Ralph Hendry, whom they know in Grenada, they are just totally devastated. But I want to, just thank you all for coming on the set. I know you're all the way out in St. Patrick, and you enjoy the Leverett Beach and so forth. But tell us, what do you do on a daily basis? Just enjoy the sunshine, or you get involved in other things?
No, before we came on this trip, we of course were working and didn't have a lot of time for the gardens around our house. So that's what we do now. We spend our time working outside. We've learned to kill a lot of plants over the years. And now we've learned how to make them live, and we're really enjoying it. Aggie's gotten into orchids, and she's got some beautiful orchids out here. And I just learned how to mix soil and make stuff grow. But we're growing bananas, we've got citrus trees, we've got mango trees, we've got star apples and sugar apples, and we're just really enjoying it, getting into the Grenada lifestyle, and it's a lot of excitement, which we're okay with that, but we're having a good year.
Fantastic. Well, what would you say to your friends back home in the United States, and what would you say to the American citizens in the United States at this time?
Well, I would say, first of all, the family, I might start crying, but they've been very gracious in their attitudes towards Grenada. And I want to say to the people in the United States that this is so unlikely. I'm just devastated that it happened, because I'm so surprised. It's such a beautiful island, and I wouldn't be afraid to come to Grenada or still to go sailing. The sailing part of it is an adventure, and I'm so sorry this happened to these people, but I want everybody to know Grenada is still safe. It's wonderful, happy, laughing. You go down the street and everybody says good morning. You go into an office, everybody says good morning. And it just makes you feel so good and welcome. And we always have felt welcome with the Grenadian people and the children. I love the kids. And I hope that this doesn't deter anybody in the whole wide world from coming to Grenada. Although I don't want to have it too busy here.
I understand. I can understand that, of course. So, Carlton, what are your final thoughts?
Oh, as you know, what happened is you can't describe how terrible it is, but it's not Grenada. It's like I said earlier, it is something that you couldn't prepare for. It's something that is very unfortunate, but it just happened. And you can't just cover it up and wash it away. It did happen, but
Yep.
it's not Grenada. It's not the way Grenada is. It's just
My hope is that, violence is going on throughout the world. And I hope that we can learn to come together as a united persons of human beings together and help the children as they grow up so that they learn the beautiful things that we know.
Yep.
And that's all I would say.
Absolutely. Well, I want to thank you so very much. Is there any final comment you wish to make?
oh man, just
You,
all we can say is, we've been to pretty much every island in the Caribbean, and we found this island to be more inviting and more welcoming. And we can't say it enough. Somebody said, "What do you like about Grenada?" But not, but don't say it's the people. And I thought for a minute. I said, "Well, that's it. It is the people. It's got beautiful shores and beautiful scenery, beautiful mountains, but it's the people that put it all together. They make it what it is."
Oh, and I want to thank Dr. Joseph, Doris Joseph, who, when we were living down on the down south, said, "Oh, you have to go up to Sauterres. It's so beautiful up there." And she's right. It's the beauty of the people. So,
Yep.
and we thank you for inviting us to share our thoughts and our heartfelt thoughts and heartfelt feelings to the world.
well, thank you so very much. Maybe another time I'll probably make my way up to Lawrence and Sandra at the beautiful guest house and maybe share a cocktail with you in more pleasant circumstances in the near future. But
Sure.
thank you very much for being part of the Heartbeat and for sharing your experiences and so forth, and the wonderful message that you send to the American people and to the rest of the world. So thank you again, Aggie and Carlton, for sharing, and hopefully see you all again very soon. Thank
I
you.
hope so. Look forward to
We'll
it.
look forward to that. Thank you.
Fantastic. Thank you very much indeed. Catch up again soon. Bye-bye.
The RKD Theatre and Grenada Cooperative Bank present Journey to Gold, written and directed by Ricardo Keynes Douglas. Journey to Gold brings to life 50 years of Grenadian politics through song, dance, and theatre. Join us at the Grenada Trade Center on Saturday, March 2nd at 8 p.m. and Sunday, March 3rd at 7 p.m. Advance tickets are $50 with limited seating, so get them now at Grenadian Optical, St. George's, and Spiceland Mall, Gittins Pharmacy, Grand Anse, and online at gotofet.com. See you on March 2nd and 3rd for Journey to Gold. Associate sponsor, Judah Sound. This ad complements Hubbard's.
Welcome back to the NDC Heartbeat podcast. It's a beautiful Sunday afternoon in Grenada, and I'm pleased to have as my guest over at the Grenada Yacht Club, and we are overlooking the beautiful Camper Nicholson Port Louis Marina. The background speaks for itself. It's all about yachting, it's all about the serenity, it's all about the tranquility that exists in Grenada. But that which we took for granted was rocked a few days ago. And we wanted to get the opinion of the yachting community. And of course, we have with us Don DeCoto. She is the president of MAYAG, which is the Marine and Yachting Association of Grenada. We also have Danny Donnellan, Grenadian. He's the secretary of MAYAG and owner of Savvy Grenada Sailing Charters. So, welcome to the Heartbeat, and of course, Don is also Grenadian, I may add. Yes. So, welcome to the Heartbeat, and just wanted to get your thoughts, ladies first, of course, on what occurred recently, most unfortunate incident, which is isolated in the most manner you can describe, what occurred to Kathy Brandel and Ralph Hendry. A very sad feeling for the yachting community indeed. And as president of the Yachting Association, what are your thoughts? How are the yachties feeling at this point in time?
Well, first of all, thank you very much, Terry, for having us on. Morning to your listeners. Before we go into discussion, I just want to say on behalf of MAYAG, the Marine and Yachting Association community, we just want to extend our sincere sympathies to both Kathy and Ralph for what has happened recently, and extend our sympathies to their families. As you said, Terry, we are in this beautiful island of Grenada, and this unfortunate incident, it is really very unfortunate, but more so unique. It's happened in Grenada, but it's not something that, the Marine and Yachting Association thankfully have to, give commentary on a regular basis. In fact, I think this is the first time in my position as president, and dare I say, being involved in MAYAG for the last 6 or 7 years, that, I've had to, that we're speaking on such a unfortunate incident. Grenada, we have a fantastic relationship with our marine and yachting community, and that's not just the marine and yachting trade, but of course our yacht visitors, be it short-term, long-term, our relationships that we've built over the years is absolutely phenomenal. We're always welcoming different crossings, whether it be the World Arc, whether it be biking, and everyone that we come into contact with, whether they're just passing through for a few days, or whether they're using one of the many marine facilities, all they have to say is commendable words. And so we are in a very unfortunate place with what's happened recently.
Yes, indeed. It is indeed most unfortunate. And Grenadians are hurting all over. Every village you go to. And even the family of the perpetrators, the alleged perpetrators, they're also hurting because they can't believe that their sons were involved in such a heinous crime.
Yeah.
Allegedly so.
Yeah. You're absolutely right, Terry. As Grenada, we are a very small community. Everybody on island knows everybody, and that's what makes us very special and unique. We are a small community, but at the same time we're a family, and we look out for everyone, whether it's we're local Grenadians or our visitors, and that's why our visitors have wonderful experiences. They speak about this time and time again. So I say that because it's at the same time, yes, because this is an isolated one-off incident. Of course, the family of the alleged perpetrators, no doubt are absolutely going to be shocked, going to be terrified, and, we'll be looking for guidance and prayers to get them through, in the same way as Kathy and Ralph's family are looking for that guidance, no doubt, at the same time. So there's no winners here. There's no winners here, Terry. There's no winners, No winners at all.
Absolutely. Well, let me go over to Danny, who is a well-known yachtsman in Grenada, has traveled the high seas, so to speak, and you have been interacting with the yachting community in Grenada for many, many years. You own your own yacht, you carry out yacht charters, and this must have personally touched you.
Grenadians are shocked because this is something that doesn't happen in Grenada. And wish the family I mean, all our sympathy. It's a very, very sad situation, but it's not something that happens in Grenada. And you know, people. The Caribbean is one of the safest places in the world to go yachting, and Grenada is one of the safest places in the Caribbean to go yachting. People travel all over the world and end up in Grenada and actually make Grenada their home. So and they do that because of the friendliness of the Grenadians, because of our low crime rate, because we welcome the yachting community to Grenada. And it's a very unfortunate incident, and like I said, Grenada is in shock about it. But there are 2,000 yachts, travelers, yachties on the island right now, and they haven't picked up their anchor and left, which means they still feel safe in Grenada. That is the fact. And they feel safe because Grenada is a safe place, because they are welcomed by us, because they get involved in the community over here. It's not just a place that they go to vacation, but it's a place that they go and peace of their heart stays in Grenada. And you know, yachting is a very important economic contributor to the island. You know, we have a lot of boat yards across there, a lot of marinas across there. A lot of Grenadians have very good jobs in the yachting community in Grenada, whether as captains or as marine mechanics or as electricians. Very substantial jobs. So this is a very large part of our economy, and it is up to us to protect that and to make sure incidences like this don't happen again.
Absolutely. Now, if you had the opportunity to meet with the families of Ralph and Kathy, what would you say to them?
Well, you know, that's always a tough one, Terry, you know, because, you know, their family are in turmoil, you know. But what I would say is that, you know, Kath and Ralph clearly had a phenomenal sailing, you know, experience over the years, and that is something that we hope that they can hold on to, you know, those memories. As we've said, and as so many have said, you know, the incident, you know, is absolutely tragic, but we hope that they can hold on to a level of comfort, knowing that, you know, both Ralph and Kathy had some of their best years, you know, on island in the Caribbean, you know, sailing, you know, seeing this beautiful region. But we, you know, they are in our prayers, and that's just not from us as MIAG. You know, that's Grenadians and even the wider region, because these incidents, as I said, when incidents like this, being unique, do happen, we all feel it. We're all in pain, you know, and we all, you know, as I said, you know, we all understand that there's no winners. There are no winners here, and it is absolutely tragic. But they are in our thoughts, you know, and we continue to have them in our prayers, you know. And as I said, hold on to memories, because memories are things that, you know, at some point, hopefully down the line, gives them a level of comfort.
Yeah, absolutely. It is heartening to know that the 2,000 odd yachties on island, no one has picked up and leave. Of course, the experiences which they had in Grenada tells them precisely that Grenada continues to be one of the safest islands in the Caribbean, on a record. Have you had personal interactions with any of the yachties, and what are their personal feelings on the matter?
Definitely. I was over at Nimrod's last night in Woburn. Now, Woburn has a community with probably about 300 yachts across there. They're very involved in the community. They go to the rum shops. They add the markets across there. A lot of them have been living in Grenada for years. A lot of them have kids going to school here in Grenada. They're raising families here in Grenada. They feel a part of the Grenada life.
Yeah.
They're not going anywhere.
Yeah.
You know, they feel completely safe here. I think everyone knows it's something that never happens, that unfortunately happened this time, and it's a very sad situation.
Yeah, I mean, although we are considered number one in the Caribbean for our low crime rate, we want to keep it low, and that's the reality of the situation, and let's hope that we can see better days ahead of us.
Yeah.
And as a people, we would band together, we would stay strong together, and we will overcome this scourge that has been placed upon Grenada. But our hearts go out to the families of Kathy and Ralph, and of course the local family of the Grenadian boys who committed this heinous crime. And words are not enough to express how we feel, and we hope that the families of Ralph and Kathy can come to the understanding that they had a beautiful life in Grenada. And as you indicated, those memories ought to be cherished. We hope that they can at least accept this from Grenada. Any final parting words?
Once again, very sorry that you know, our condolences go to the family, and we hope this kind of thing never happens again. We're sorry that it did happen, but Grenada and the Caribbean are one of the safest places in the world to travel to. So we hope that everyone keeps coming.
You know, as MIAG, we are a trade organisation, but we work very closely in collaboration with government, non-profits, and, you know, as Danny mentions about, you know, potential task force, as you mentioned that, you know, government's always looking at tighten up, you know, we're always ready, and, you know, they can knock in. We'll always take a chair around the table with a view to ensuring that, you know, we can continue to ensure that Grenada, you know, it remains safe for, you know, not just our tourists, not just our yachting community, but our tourists and of course our people generally speaking. So that is something that is a given, and we look forward to those ongoing collaborations. So on behalf of MIAG, I just wanted to say that as a final note. Thank you.
Grenada is not only the safest place in terms of our low crime rate, but this is a place that everybody comes during the hurricane season to get away from hurricanes. So geographically, we're quite a safe place as well. And we're one of the few islands in the Caribbean where yachting happens all year round. Mm-hmm. The islands up north, they have a very short season, but when the hurricane season comes, all of those boats leave, and most of them come to Grenada. So, you know, it's a safe place all the way around.
Absolutely. Well, thank you so very much indeed for being part of the Heartbeat today. And we want to thank the Grenada Yacht Club for accommodating us, a beautiful setting here. And of course, we're overlooking the Camper Nicholson Port Louis Marina. And for those of you who are abroad, you can see the beauty of Grenada. And this is just a small snippet of it. We want to just reiterate the peace and tranquility and the serenity that exists in Grenada continues to attract yachtsmen, tourists, and other visitors to the island. What has occurred was just an isolated and most unfortunate incident, and we extend our sympathies to the families of Kathy and Ralph and trust that they can hold on to the great memories that they shared with them, I'm sure, over the years on their lifestyle in Grenada. So thank you very much, and good luck.
Thank you very much.
Yeah, God bless us all.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Hey, what's up, man? What's your name?
Big Mac.
I'm Nicholas. Damn, you got some big hands. Is that why they call you Big Mac?
We're not going to talk about that.
So what are you up to today?
I was just going to prepare some sea moss juice. I'm going to give you 10 minutes of my time.
Okay. What do you do for work?
Oh, this is my market here.
Are you a married man?
Yes.
How long you been married?
1984.
He stopped counting. He's like, I know the date it started. What's making you the happiest right now?
I enjoy bringing people good food. This is my calling.
So you grew up where?
Grenada, a small island called Carriacou, 5,000 people.
So it's an island outside of Grenada?
Grenada, yes.
Where do you get your fruit from?
I have 2 farms down there.
Food for niggas get their fruit from you? What are all these things that you have in this basket?
Soursop, straight from Grenada.
They buy the soursop and stuff from me.
Who taught you?
Coming from Carriacou, we're very aggressive in trying to make life, so we do whatever we had to do to make life.
So your parents, everybody knows how to do it.
They learn from their parents, and I learn from them.
How old were you you when you moved from Grenada?
17 years old by myself.
What was the first job you had when you moved here?
Factory, making $2.65 an hour. I was taking home $86 a week. I was saving 60. Yeah, it was tight.
If I were to go to Grenada, I would be able to visit your farm?
Of course.
How big is a farm?
One place we have 15 acres. The other area we have 60 acres.
You started this all from scratch?
From scratch.
You're working nonstop then?
16 hours a day.
Oh my God, you're like me.
Just made some fresh soursop juice. I'm gonna go get you a sample. Give me 2 minutes. This is pure soursop. Try it out.
Okay, wow. No sugar added. Colombians make guanabana, but they always put sugar in it. I love it like this.
Walk you guys back to the store. You could go inside and see all the goodies that we have. You ever had sapodilla?
Oh, never. It looks like a potato. They need to close all the candy shops and open these.
You're gonna love it. Come on, you could do this while you're doing the camera.
Yeah, do it.
Ever had anything like this?
Never. What do you think?
It's like butter.
Caramel butter, right?
Caramel butter. There's no need for candy in this world.
God has created everything. We didn't need to go and do anything extraordinary. Some conch soup that we make in the kitchen there.
Where does the fish come from?
Grenada, mostly. Sometimes they catch it today. I have it tomorrow.
What a cool life you have. It's like a movie. The guy, he sees the fruit spoiling in his hometown. He's like, I have an idea. That was so good. This is like transporting you to Grenada. That's for all you watching. If you have any problems, he knows how to use them.
You want to get a straw or you want to drink it natural? Au natural.
Holy it's so good.
It's not like the stuff in the can.
And the plastic. They try to serve the coconut water and everything now. Wow, look at that. That's clear as day. Were both your parents so big like you?
My mother's a little petite lady, but they're from the same family, so my father was my size. So we were second cousins on both sides.
My great-grandparents were second cousins too.
They went out of the way to look for the family to marry.
Kind of like the kings and queens.
That's what it was.
So you're royalty.
Royalty.
Welcome back to the NDC Heartbeat podcast. We now over the Camper Nicholson Port Louis Marina, and we are chatting with Deacon and Kate. They own their own yacht here, and of course they're enjoying the beautiful weather and the complementary aspects of being in Grenada. So, welcome to our podcast, and it's interesting that you have the same name as our Prime Minister.
Absolutely, and the only place in the world where people could remember my name.
Yeah, wonderful, wonderful. It's because our PM's name is also Deacon. But we're here to chat about this most unfortunate and, I would say, an isolated incident which occurred.
One of a kind.
Yeah, Kathy and Ralph.
Expect never to happen again.
It's sad, very sad. And we have been interviewing one or two individuals in the yachting industry, and they're just kind of sharing and expressing their condolence and so forth to the family of Kathy and Ralph. And we wanted to get your views. What are your thoughts?
Well, first, that it's absolutely one of a kind incident that I wouldn't expect to reoccur on this island ever again. We feel absolutely comfortable here in this island. We love it so much that we just returned from Panama, straight shot, to come here to be in your lovely country.
Wow, welcome.
We were blessed to be invited down when COVID hit the world. We had just finished a 16-year refit of this boat.
Wow.
The two of us did everything you see here. And we had just launched at the end of 2019. We were in Antigua when in March the world shut down. And we were worried that we were going to have to return back to the United States after that long period. But Grenada and the yachting industry in particular put together a protocol that was safe enough that they felt they could invite yachties to come to Grenada during COVID. And the protocol absolutely worked. There were 700 boats that came here, and COVID didn't arrive until a doctor brought it from the States.
Things happen.
But it was a great thing that Grenada did for the cruising community.
Absolutely,
yes.
It was a fabulous
stunningly
thing.
wonderful. The only island nation to open its doors.
Fantastic.
In Trinidad didn't.
But we've visited Grenada. This is our third time. We were here in 92, we were here again in 98, and then we came here at the beginning of COVID. And each time we've always felt very, very safe here.
Great.
And we do extend our condolences to the family, Kathy and
that's
Ralph, and feel that this was not an attack on a cruiser, specifically, like you hear happens in other islands where they look out at the boats and say, let me go out to that boat and see what I can get from it.
Yeah.
This was 3 guys who were trying to get out of the country.
Yeah.
And
Yeah. Very sad.
Very sad.
Very sad situation
Very
indeed.
sad.
What part of the United States are you coming from?
We come from the oldest fishing port on the east coast of the United States,
Oh,
Gloucester, Massachusetts.
Massachusetts.
Yeah, made famous by the movie The Perfect Storm.
Uh-huh.
And more currently, there's a TV program called Wicked Tuna.
Uh-huh.
um,
Okay.
that
It's north of Boston.
Great.
Yeah.
Fantastic.
Yeah.
So if you had the opportunity to say a few words to the family of Kathy and her friend, Ralph, what would you say to them?
Oh boy, that's a really difficult thing. I mean, our hearts just absolutely break for that family. It's just a senseless tragedy, totally unexpected, totally unable to be avoided, and we just are really sorry for you that this happened.
Yeah.
Yeah, and we're also sorry for the family of Grenada.
Yes, indeed.
It just didn't deserve this stain on its sterling reputation.
Yeah.
But the bad things happen the world over.
Yeah. Happens all over the world, but
And unfortunate that it was here and at this time, and they were just in the wrong place at the wrong time.
Yep.
But our hometown is a very peaceful working class town, and yet in my lifetime there's been a murder of a similar proportion, just a senseless, absolutely cruel murder that by a sick individual.
Yep. Even the parents of these young boys, they just totally shattered.
Oh, I would imagine.
Can't believe that their sons may have been allegedly involved in such an incident.
Yeah.
And of course, the various communities, the villages, all of Grenada just feels so saddened
Absolutely.
over this senseless
Yep.
and unnecessary crime.
Yes.
Yeah.
What's the purpose of this?
So, I was in Jamaica, 1982, in the town of Negril, and 2 boys from a neighboring village came into town to wreak similar havoc, not to be murderous, but to be thieves and hurt people. They had a big machete and they wouldn't hesitate to cut somebody. The town lined up, shoulder to shoulder, and walked through the village until they flushed the 2 boys out, and they stoned them to death in the street.
Wow.
And when the police arrived, they put 2 bullets in them to say that they were trying to escape, and so the police were responsible for their death, not the citizens.
Wow.
And even in Jamaica, which is a fairly violent reputation, the people are normally wonderful and caring.
Yeah.
It's just the one bad apple.
Yeah.
You
One bad apple. It's unfortunate that these 3 prisoners escaped police custody. It's very, very sad, very unfortunate.
Yeah, that needs to be addressed.
Oh, yes.
Which I'm sure it is.
Absolutely. Prime Minister Deacon Mitchell is certainly going to make some real fundamental announcements very soon as to policy changes, etc., etc.
Equipment changes too.
All of that. All of that. Because, Grenada has enjoyed over the many decades a reputation of really the most peaceful island in the entire Caribbean.
That's why we're here.
That's true.
We sailed 1,000 miles against the wind and the current to come to this country because we believe in the people.
Yep.
We have made countless numbers of friends here
Yep.
who greet us in the supermarkets, who greet us on the streets with friendship and smiles.
It's a wonderful place. It's so sad for the family.
We recognize how wonderful this island is, obviously.
Yes,
because
indeed.
the trip we made was arduous. It was the hardest sailing trip we've ever done.
Wow. Yeah, you were sailing against the wind.
And the currents.
Wow.
Yep.
You're rather courageous to take
Or
such a
crazy. But
But
it speaks, really speaks to,
worthwhile to
it
be-
really speaks to how much we love this island and its people and how safe we feel. We ride the buses.
Mhm.
We, you know, we just feel safe.
Yeah, that's. I'm glad that you are making the statement, not being coerced in any way whatsoever, but
No.
it comes from your heart.
Absolutely.
Yeah,
Yeah.
and
No,
we're thankful for that.
and it's, just tragic that it happened.
Yeah,
But you can't undo.
Yep.
You can't undo history or the past.
Yeah, absolutely, and
it's
we can't say enough to the family and friends of Kathy and Ralph how
Yep.
sad we
No,
are
No.
as
no
a Grenadian community to know that this occurred, and for young sons of Grenada to have been allegedly involved in their demise. We trust and hope that they will accept the fact and get comfort in the fact that both Kathy and Ralph had great times in Grenada.
I'm sure they did.
I'm sure they had great times in
I'm sure
Grenada, the years that they spent here,
Yep.
and that they'll take comfort in the fact that this, in fact, is what they wanted to be in this
Yeah.
zone of peace and
Yep.
tranquility.
And
Unfortunately,
we say the most dangerous thing that we do is drive a car.
yeah, you're right.
Yachting is an inherently safe lifestyle.
Yep.
The chances of dying behind the wheel are higher than
Oh yes.
dying.
Yeah. Yep. Absolutely. No, I realize that you're emotional over the situation, and rightfully so indeed. Rightfully so,
Yeah.
because there are
Touched.
hundreds or maybe thousands of yachtsmen in Grenada. I think the record, the count is about 2,000
Okay.
Wow.
yachties
Wow.
on Grenada in different ports here and there all
Yeah.
over the island.
Yeah.
And everyone echo the same sentiment that you have been echoing.
Yeah.
That
And
this is a peaceful zone, and this is just a real isolated incident which occurred.
Yeah.
And hopefully that stain on Grenada can be removed very quickly, because Grenada does not need this. The
No.
people of Grenada does not need this. But things happen even to the best of us.
Right.
Yeah.
And I haven't yet to speak to a Grenadian who isn't absolutely infuriated
Yeah.
that this happened on this island.
Yep.
There isn't a soul who doesn't feel that this was a senseless
Senseless.
act.
Absolutely senseless indeed. Yeah. So you've been back at the Camper Nicholson Port Louis Marina. How long do you intend to remain on this port?
We have been here for 3 months due to mechanical issues.
Uh-huh. Okay.
We're ever hopeful. We're waiting for a replacement of this unit.
Oh, uh-huh. Whatever that is.
We had planned to leave December 15. We were going to go to the Southern Bays for a little while, and then
Uh-huh.
we were going to go up to Antigua
All right.
and then come back. But because of these problems, we're just staying in Grenada, and we're very happy to do so because we really love Grenada.
Yeah.
So
Wonderful.
hopefully in a week or two we'll go back down
Yeah.
to the Prickly Bay area.
Right, and hopefully you get your part
Hope
very
we
soon.
get the part. Yeah.
Not that. Yeah, I mean, the part will dictate that you take off, but
Right,
at least you have
right.
your boat, in working order.
Exactly.
But-
Yeah, it's a very essential piece of equipment.
Is it a pump or
No, it's called a shaft brake.
a shaft brake?
So these are two calipers that would
Like the
close
disc,
on
like
a-
the disc on your car. The
Uh
disc
huh.
brake on
Okay,
your
right,
car.
like the disc. Yeah.
and so the oil pressure, when you turn the engine on, the oil pressure pushes a piston here that opens these pads.
Uh huh.
We're required to have this because of the type of propeller that we have.
Oh, I see.
So we can
So-
use the motor, but we can't sail the boat because the propeller shaft has to be able to be stopped when we sail.
Mm,
So that's why we can leave here and go to Prickly Bay under motor
right.
if the part hasn't arrived yet.
Well, you never know. Maybe out of this interview, somebody will say, you know what, I'll send them the part.
No, it's
It's on. We hope it's on its way from England.
it's being manufactured in England. And,
In England.
In England, and they said
Yeah.
that it should be ready by the end of this coming week.
But our changed plans, we were going to go back out into the Pacific, and that's when we decided, no, let's go back to Grenada. And so the changed plans are we'll leave our boat here for a few months in the summer, go
Right.
back to Gloucester, and that will be our routine for a number of years.
Yeah,
This will
great.
be our home base.
Well, I wish you all the very best.
Well,
And
thank you.
Thank you for joining our podcast.
And again,
Pleasure.
And
and
let
again we're
me,
sorry for the family, and
Yes.
sorry that they didn't get to carry on their dream.
yeah, it's very sad indeed. Let me give you an opportunity for your closing remarks. What are your thoughts?
Well, just to the family, we would say that we're, immensely sorry for their loss. But as you said, this was their chosen lifestyle, and I'm sure they had a wonderful time up until the very end.
Yes, I'm sure they did.
And I don't think there's anything that anybody can say to make this any better.
Mhm.
It's just a tragedy that,
Very tragic indeed.
and it didn't just strike Grenada. It's internationally news, unfortunately.
Yep, unfortunately.
And it affects all of the yachties, all up
Yep.
and down the islands.
Mhm.
It's a wake-up call that we all need to be more concerned about our security.
Yeah. Mhm.
If things had been different, they might have survived.
Yeah.
And then,
Like everything else.
But you don't know.
but you don't know.
Yeah.
You really
You
don't know.
just don't know.
Yeah.
you
But,
just
but
don't
it's a
know.
real wake-up call to all of us.
Yeah, absolutely, and it is indeed a wake-up call to our police force to strengthen their capacity and to ensure that holding cells are well secured and to strengthen our policing.
Yeah.
That's just life.
Yep.
That's the life we live in the world these days.
Unfortunately, we all seem to learn the hard way.
Yeah. Well, thank you so very much,
Mm.
Deacon,
Pleasure.
and thank you, Kate.
Thank you, Terry.
Yeah, real pleasure chatting with you all, and thank you for your comments.
Thank you.
Thank you very much.
The RKD Theatre and Grenada Cooperative Bank present Journey to Gold, written and directed by Ricardo Keynes Douglas. Journey to Gold brings to life 50 years of Grenadian politics through song, dance, and theatre. Join us at the Grenada Trade Center on Saturday, March 2nd at 8 p.m. and Sunday, March 3rd at 7 p.m. Advance tickets are $50 with limited seating, so get them now at Grenadian Optical St. George's and Spiceland Mall, Gittins Pharmacy Grand Dance, and online at gotofet.com. See you on March 2nd and 3rd for Journey to Gold. Associate sponsor Judah Sound. This ad complements Hubbard's.
We also going to share with you comments which Prime Minister Deacon Mitchell made in Guyana at the Heads of CARICOM meeting, where he touched very well on the issue regarding crime and violence in the region and how the heads can collaborate together in order to beat back crime and violence, and how we can all cooperate as a Caribbean people, as Caribbean countries. For those of you who are listening on radio, the program will go beyond the hour, so we invite you to join us online through the NDC Heartbeat, and you can also join on YouTube.
Let me join with my colleague in expressing on my own behalf and I think on behalf of all colleague heads and delegates who've attended this conference, our profound appreciation for the exceptional arrangements and the wonderful hospitality exhibited to all of us. We were told when we came on Sunday that we should forget any diet or any food restrictions that we have. I think we're all going back a little happier, perhaps a little heavier, as a result of the exceptional hospitality. President himself cooked for us. I don't know that that has happened ever before, and I want to really thank you for the remarkable hospitality. Regrettably, we have to treat with a more sobering topic, and that of crime, violence, and public safety. It is a matter of fundamental importance to CARICOM. It affects, in varying terrible degrees, each of our islands, countries, and as CARICOM heads, we are deeply engaged on this matter. We want to reiterate that crime, public safety, violence is not a matter for governments only, not a matter for CARICOM heads only. It is a matter that should engage all of society, all of the region, because we have some per capita alarming statistics. Per capita homicides, killing of our people, particularly young people, something that we cannot be proud of in marking the 50th anniversary of CARICOM. And so we recognize the profound importance of public safety. We appreciate, despite all of the hard work, whether it's on free movement of people, the greater economic cooperation, the work on the capital markets, the risk we face from climate change, and our efforts to address this, the dynamism of our culture, our sports, men and women, that all of this could be undone if we do not address this tide of crime and violence. And so you recall that in April 17th and 18th of 2023, heads gathered in Trinidad and Tobago to address the issue of crime and violence as a public health safety issue. We are often ready to accept that health issues, whether it's a pandemic, whether it's an epidemic, whether it's the challenge of non-communicable diseases that is rampant throughout the region, all public health issues. But in a sense, the loss of a life through violence, loss of a limb through violence, scourge that drug addiction, alcohol abuse, and the antisocial behavior that oftentimes is fueled by this, the gun trafficking, the deaths by gun violence, are essentially all matters of health. And so the heads in April met and would have issued a declaration of the various wide-ranging issues that we need to address. And at this meeting, heads met in deep caucus. Conversation on this issue was long, was profound, and it was all-encompassing. We certainly want to, again, recommend that for the media who are here, and for those who are not here, and for all of us within the community, that we go back and look at the declaration made in Port of Spain on the 17th and 18th of April, 2023. And we assure our citizens that we are committed to the principles enunciated in that declaration and to implementing them. And I would just highlight one of the issues that countries have already started acting on, and we expect that between now and July, all of the CARICOM members will ramp up the action to make sure that this becomes a reality. And that is the Caribbean arrest warrant. As it stands now, someone is wanted in Trinidad and Tobago and find themselves in Grenada or Barbados. It is extremely difficult for law enforcement to apprehend and return them on the simple basis that they would not have been wanted in Grenada or Barbados for any crime. And so we need to make sure that criminals understand that we would not tolerate them moving from island to island within the community to escape consequences of the actions. Some of the islands have begun to ratify documentation that is required to make sure that this becomes a reality. And we intend to press forward urgently on this matter to make sure that it quickly is ratified by all member states so that we can address this. There are various examples of other things that we need to do regionally, from beefing up our resources to our law enforcement and law enforcement and intelligence and security agencies to make sure that we can share intelligence on emerging criminal trends, gang activity, money laundering. All of these are activities that we have to pursue and pursue collectively as a region. It is clear that in some of our islands, some of our countries, there is organized criminal activities that are run as a business. And so it's important that we strengthen our ability to, in fact, seize, confiscate, and ensure that criminals do not profit from the criminal enterprise. And so regionally, we intend to use the existing mechanisms that exist. I want to say this because oftentimes in Trinidad, I saw the reaction to the comments made by Prime Minister Gonzalez and Prime Minister Motley in relation to the sentencing that oftentimes meted out to criminals, or the fact that we've taken a very liberal and tolerant approach to granting bail to criminals who on multiple repeat charges. The Caribbean civilization is founded upon, yes, the separation of powers. But the separation of powers cannot be taken to mean that the executive and the judiciary cannot engage. We have to appreciate what are our values. And we can't sit idly by as heads and watch criminals who are on bail commit crime and not say that this is a matter that needs to be addressed. And so as heads, we are very clear that talking and engaging with the judiciary is absolutely necessary if we are going to address this issue of criminality within the region. We cannot tolerate a situation where criminals commit multiple repeated offenses and are let loose on our societies. And just so that we understand, it isn't only legitimate businessmen, women, or citizens who are moving. The criminals are also moving. And I can give you some context. In the case of Grenada, only last year, we've had high-profile public executions that were not committed by Grenadians. They were committed by citizens coming from other islands. And so as citizens of the region, we have to appreciate that there are, in fact, professional killers, hired shooters, and hired gunmen who ply their trade throughout the Caribbean. And this is a sobering reality. And so blaming heads for comments pertaining to the need to address our sentencing approach or approach to bail is not an attempt by heads to interfere with the judiciary's exercise of their right to ultimately determine a sentence. But it is a recognition that if we value life, that if we value public safety as one of the fundamental pillars of our civilization, cannot simply sit idly by and slowly walk into a situation where criminals have more rights than citizens and innocent victims. And so I'm making this point because heads are very clear that engagement with the judiciary is not interference, and that regionally we have to have that engagement to ensure that the judiciary does its part in addressing this issue of crime and violence. We also appreciate, and again this may be controversial, but we are not going to shy away from it. The Caribbean has produced some of the world's most renowned entertainers. From Marshall Montano, to the Mighty Sparrow, to Arrow, to Bob Marley, to hundreds of soca artists, dancehall artists, zouk artists. Their lyrics always inspiring, uplifting, funny, entertaining. But they never promoted violence. They never encouraged violence. Never glorified violence. They never denigrated women. And we have to accept that there, I don't know that I could call it emerging, there has emerged a trend in our entertainment sector over the last, perhaps more recently in the context of the Caribbean and the Southern Caribbean, in the case of Trinidad, in the case of Jamaica, dancehall music, in the case of Black America, rap, hip hop, that glorifies violence, that glorifies criminality. And we are not here to say that you don't have the right to your cultural expression, artistic expression, or poetic license. But all societies have to, again, determine what are our values. We have to ascertain if promoting violence, glorifying criminality, is to be normalized, is to become mainstream. Heads are clear. It is not. And so we are unreserved in our condemnation. And we as a society must therefore work with the enormous talent that we have in the region, in our artists, in our musicians, in our entertainers, in our sportsmen and women, in our social media influencers, to promote and develop positive content that reflects the true essence and value of Caribbean civilization. And so, heads have committed to ensuring that we deliberately, strategically, and resourcefully commence the process of engaging across all spectrums on this issue of how we can use our creatives, our sportsmen and women, our entertainers to bring us back to where we are, where we were. An entertainment industry that is positive, that is inspiring, that is motivating, and can take us to where we need to go in the next 50 years of the CARICOM civilization. We are not here to talk censorship. We are not here to curtail anyone's right to speak or to say what they want. What we are saying is that we need to encourage positive, inspiring content that looks after our young people, that encourages them to appreciate that you don't need to die at 20 or 21 years. If they keep dying at 20 or 21 years, there will be no Caribbean civilization 50 or 60 years from now. So that takes me to cricket. And a wonderful example of what we can do in the Caribbean with our young talent. I would only mention that we had Shamar Joseph in the room here today. And I think for anybody who understands what sporting excellence means to the Caribbean, what it can do to your sense of pride, your emotion, your sense of happiness, you just needed to look at Shamar's bowling in Australia. Your couple hours of cricket excellence can make what was otherwise a difficult month, a difficult day, a difficult year, a wonderful day, a wonderful year. So we've got the T20 World Cup in the region. It is a wonderful opportunity again for us to showcase to the world our cricket, our wonderful hospitality, our wonderful creativity. But you'd also appreciate mass events like cricket comes with challenges. In the case of the community, the logistics of movement. And so heads have pledged their unwavering support to working with Cricket West Indies to make sure that we do all we need to do institutionally, regulatory and legally, facilitate the movement of fans, players, and support staff to ensure that we have the smooth running of a Cricket World Cup. Mass events also pose significant public safety and security risks. And in the current geopolitical tensions that we are facing in the world, we are very keenly aware of the need to ensure that we do not take this event for granted from a public safety and security perspective. So we're working with all of our regional partners, all of our international partners, to ensure that we do all that is necessary to ensure that Cricket 20 in the Caribbean is a success civilization. And so heads have committed to ensuring that we deliberately, strategically, and resourcefully commence the process of engaging across all spectrums on this issue of how we can use our creatives, our sportsmen and women, our entertainers to bring us back to where we are, where we were. An entertainment industry that is positive, that is inspiring, that is motivating, and can take us to where we need to go in the next 50 years of the CARICOM civilization. We are not here to talk censorship. We are not here to curtail anyone's right to speak or to say what they want. What we are saying is that we need to encourage positive, inspiring content that looks after our young people, that encourages them to appreciate that you don't need to die at 20 or 21 years.
Thank you for being part of the program today, and do join us again next Sunday, where we'll have more interesting interviews for you. Thank you, and have a great Sunday afternoon.